Terrible Warriors is partnered up with the Stormcrow Manor in Toronto, where you can hire a DM to run a game for you during one of your meals. To find out more information, check out dmdineto.com and request Justin Eacock for your next private game. You can run any game you like. It could be Dungeons & Dragons. It could be the Forbidden Lands. It could be any of the games you've heard right here on the Terrible Warriors. It's dmdineto.com. And today, on the Terrible Warriors, we return to those Forbidden Lands as we emerge from the wilderness and arrive in civilization, a village built upon the ruins of a cemetery. Life isn't easy when your neighbors are the dead. And our adventurers, seeking fame, fortune, and glory, they are the Terrible Warriors. Welcome back, Terrible Warriors. We're into our second hour of our journey through the Forbidden Lands by Free League Publishing. And here we are, having arrived now into civilization at last, coming out of the wilderness and all the trudgery that goes with that. I am your game master, Justin Eacock, surrounded by my table, because I am not alone, by our stalwart adventurers. First, of course, leading us in song.
We have Kelly the Halfling, who has a heart the size of a fully grown human.
And played by?
Played by Leon Weinstein.
Yes, of course. Another person with a heart of gold. At least there's gold involved. I mean, there must be gold at the end of this rainbow.
Gold or sex, either one. Bib and Leaf Shield is the rogue of the party, played by Scott Thrower from Fairy Tales for Unwanted Children.
And once we get to town, you'll finally be able to have some marks that you can actually get some stuff back in your pockets.
Oh, that would be nice, because yes, so far I've just stolen vegetables.
You are super broke. And of course, still with that group, trying to lead the way, but trapped in fog.
Yeah. Joe Drummond playing Rivka. I was doing so well at scouting at the beginning.
Really
no, you
well.
weren't.
You were
no,
a druid.
not really.
I mean, you found some vegetables, but the rogue didn't get any, so you didn't do anything. And then striking out on their own in the first hour, breaking the party and being like, screw y'all. We have our rider,
Lovina. And you guys will soon learn that I'm very impatient, so I left Callie, Bibbin, and Rivka behind.
Yeah,
and
you're here for action and adventure.
I'm in the town. I want to know where the money's at. I want to know what I got to kill to loot it. I want some armor.
So efficient that the name applies to the character and the player.
So I am currently hanging out at Dead Man's Hand Tavern, and can we... jump in?
It will be that night as we are moving through, because a lot of the last episodes, not a whole lot story-wise happened. There's a lot of really just getting to know each other and getting to know the game.
We got attacked by mosquitoes. We got attacked by wasps.
There was a theme here.
There was a mysterious suit of armor just stomping its way through the plains, and that thing is not... I mean, it's a random encounter, yes, but it is not a random character. That character is very much rooted into the lore of Forbidden Lands.
I personally
I got really excited when I rolled. I was like, oh, I get to introduce. So there's absolutely the chance we may find that one again.
I think it's just a friend we haven't made yet.
Of course.
Well, you would say that because you recognize the symbol.
So
the Rust Brothers symbol on his
I have a
plate.
certain
as
amount
you're
of
walking
lore.
through town that day, before you made your way to the Dead Man's Hand, you would have noticed that same Rust Brother symbol hanging over a small building with boarded up windows. It's definitely being lived in, but it's not. It doesn't seem very welcoming. It looks like a church that no one attends, and it has a banner over the front of it with that Rust Brother symbol into it, and it seems to be a house of the Rust Brothers. And you can tell it's being tended because there are flowers in the windows, and the front step has been swept. So there's signs of someone is in this building, and that's a curious thing. But you made your way to the Dead Man's Hand, and you were in there. Miss Palmer was berating some people and smacking them over with a head and get back to work. I'm not paying you to sit here in the tavern and drink. What is this? And she takes a drink out of the... And she spits it on the ground, and she throws it to the ground. And she goes over to the bartender. She says, "You will not sell his beer here under any circumstances. Do you not understand what we're trying to accomplish here?" And now there is absolutely no one in this room that is good enough for what Miss Palmer is trying to get accomplished here. And she's just moving from one person to one person, just berating them all. And that's what you walked into when we last left off.
So I'm going to walk up to Miss Palmer, introduce myself, see if I can sway her into believing I'm some
Yeah.
famous wanderer hero, so I can get some free food and some information.
Okay, well, I mean, that sounds like
She's
right
still
off
on the
bat,
horse.
Like,
I'm on my horse in a tavern doing this.
I'm assuming you hitched your horse outside.
So I walk up and perch up beside her. I'm already gonna intrigue
Yeah.
her enough. I'm covered in
Oh
tattoos.
yeah. No, she hasn't noticed you
So-
yet because she's been yelling at everyone else. But meanwhile, the rest of the room, their eyes have been on you, watching like they're walking right up to Miss. Oh no, and they're like, oh no, but they're not. This is kind of
Excuse
amusing.
me? Are you Miss Palmer?
I am indeed. And who do? And she just kind of looks and she sees and, well, you're not from around here.
Most definitely not. I'm a rather famous adventurer. So I'm wondering if you have a place for me to rest tonight or any
All
food.
famous adventurers. Those last ones were famous adventurers too, and they were useless. They couldn't wait to get out of here.
Why would they want to get out of here?
Oh, always some legend, some trinket, some treasure, some lore. No one has any interest in the future of this place. No one except me. I'm the only one.
Well, I am interested
so
in
stuck
that
in her head.
symbol outside on the way over here, the Rust Brothers. Do they live here?
Oh, of course. They have an outpost here, of course, like everyone else. They keep an eye out. They hold the demons at bay. Every now and then, some of them show up. They want to take the dead away to re-educate them, they say. They don't need re-education. They just need to be put away, kept in the north end of the town where no one can bother them. We don't bother them, and they don't bother us. It's the way things should be.
Do you know anything about a 7-foot-tall knight in burning armor with the Rust Brothers symbol?
Enough of these questions. I am trying to run a business. What do you need?
Can you point me in the direction of someone that can tell me?
Just fine. Well, Brother Stukas. He does his rounds. Around the evening time, he'll be out there soon. And he ends his rounds here in the tavern, of course, always wanting to have a drink. And you will not serve, it goes back to the bartender, you will not serve them any
one thing.
Ottomans.
One more. I heard that you have a famous boar stew. One of your men at the tower said you'd offer it to me for free.
Oh, did he?
Oh,
Did
yeah.
he give you his name?
Yeah. Gerald.
It's like, yes, I'll be more than happy to dock his pay, and he can pay for your meal for tonight.
Perfect.
So she snaps her fingers and goes out, and in the center of the tavern, there's like a spit roast going on, and it's like the whole room is just smelling of like cooked food and warmth, and
Please don't look that up on Urban Dictionary.
and yeah, no, of course, and your food is being brought to you. So meanwhile, as we've gone into the evening and the fog is now rolling through the town and the lights are being turned on, you hear Miss Palmer walk her way out, and as she leaves the room, you hear a bell kind of go off from like the door, like a doorbell, ding 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 ding, and she yells something off into the night and stomps off onto the roads. Meanwhile, just outside of town, kind of making their way a little bit slower through the fog, you arrive through the fields, and you see the lights of the hollows. Is the rest of our group.
Finally a village. I can leave you all behind.
Please, Jill.
And as you come up, you see the same with the towers. But this time there is a person. There's a lantern lit, and you see a person sitting in a stool, like leaning back with their feet. They're sleeping.
I push Callie to the beginning of the group, to the front of the group.
Hi, we just, we're here and we saw this lovely little town and we,
he goes to grab for a small crossbow, and he goes and points it out. He's like, "Oh, guys!
Oh, hi, friend.
Oh, good, you can speak. Oh, good. What is this? Oh,
We're just
visitors.
hardy adventurers coming through for a nice little night. We can meet some people and learn a bit more about your wonderful town.
Little late to be traveling out in the wilds, isn't it?"
We had a wasp-related mishap.
And he just kind of nods and goes, "Oh, fair enough. Well, not sure about any accommodations, but you can make your way to the tavern, I suppose. You can
Sure, would you
find
mind
ways
putting
up."
us in the direction of your loveliest tavern?
And he points in, right behind the gates is a center square, and there's a well, and just the left of the well is the tavern that Lovina has already been at. And the gates open up, and you can see the pathway and the lanterns all lit, and there's people milling about, walking around on the pathways. And I goes, "Well, enjoy your stay," he says with a smirk on his face, and the door closes behind you, and he goes back to covering his hat and going back to sleep.
Wait, he didn't even look twice at me, which is not how things should be working.
Wait, why should they look twice at you?
Well, look at me.
Oh.
I'm gorgeous.
I looked once.
I mean, it is kind of
Strange.
foggy, I was going to say.
We know what? Good luck next time. I'm sure next time you find somebody who will just see the real you.
Why don't you try using that charm to get us all rooms?
Well, at the moment I'm looking around at the crowd I'm seeing out here, and I'm not all that impressed so far.
The crowd that you're seeing, they're all not really going anywhere. They're just sort of walking around, and you see one of them is coming up towards you and just kind of walks right past into the lamppost and kind of bounces off and turns in another direction.
All right, that's even more unusual. She didn't even look at me at all.
She looks dead tired. I don't feel like there's a lot going on here. Why don't we check out that tavern? I could really use some food and some...
Have you noticed the architecture?
Have you?
Yes. It's cemetery chic.
As the door closes behind you, you're walking down the path. You're seeing the people that are milling about this crowd. And then through the fog, though, in the square by the well, you can hear the sounds of a sad tune being played from a lute. And there's music being played in the square. And it's nighttime. It's dark. But there's lanterns that lead the way. And there's and some of the mulling people are, no one seems to be going anywhere too fast. And a small little circle of a crowd is kind of gathered around the source of the sound of the music.
I mean, I'm going to head straight for the source of that sound. I want to, hear a little bit more from a fellow minstrel.
Work your way through the very... It's a light crowd. You work your way through the crowd. So you work your way through the crowd and you kind of push them. And they move. There's no resistance. And as you get to the front, it's a minstrel with a dark hood and a noose around their neck, playing on a lute. And they're semi-transparent, playing a mournful tune. And as you look around to the rest of the crowd, they're all listening with their eyes closed. And they're all kind of swaying to this tune that's playing. And you see there's a hat in front of the player.
Do I know enough about music to be able to, know a bit more about the song, and if there's anything kind of behind the song, like the lore of the song?
It's a mournful song for the dead.
Okay.
It's a song of remembrance.
Can I drop a silver in there and then sweep my hand and pick up maybe a couple as I go?
Sleight of hand?
So you want to look like you're tipping, but you're really stealing.
Absolutely.
Okay. So that would be sleight of hand. And you don't have any, there'd be no gear to add to this. And you roll that with your attribute.
You got it.
I got it.
You got it. So there wasn't so much silver coins, but there were a few copper coins in there. So...
Beggars can't be choosers.
So do you drop the silver that you're going to?
Oh, I'm going to pick up that silver at the same time.
Okay, so you palm the silver and you swoop some of it, but you make it like there's a clinking sound of coins being there. And the player, the musician, nods in its gratitude, and you hear a hollow voice just thank you. And then the music continues to play through. And it hasn't seemed to notice that you took money. You didn't leave money. Can
I try with because I also have a lute. Can I try and sort of match the song and try and play in concert?
I mean, I guess it seems a little rude to go up to a street performer and just start playing along with them. It's not like a jam session.
Jam with them. Essentially, I want to try and learn the song.
You could,
in case I would need
with
it
the gratitude of the group. The player may, once they're done playing, you could talk with them and learn their song. They might teach it to you, or you could just start strumming along at the same time.
I think I'll go for I'll wait and out of respect and let them and indicate to my lute and everything.
The song comes to this end, and the crowd begins to disperse off, and some of them just vanish, and others begin to make their way up to the north part of town. They go off the path of painted red bricks and off into darkness where there's no lanterns, and into the fog. They just fucking disappear.
And where you said vanish, are we literally talking
literally
vanishing?
A few of them literally vanish.
All right then, something weird's going on here, and none of them have checked me out.
If they vanished, how are they carrying coppers?
Who said it was their coppers? The coppers were in the hat. We didn't see anyone else drop the money in there.
That's true.
And so the minstrel's name is Alma. And
sorry, brother, may I catch your name? That was a wonderful song.
And then Alma.
Alma. Would you mind telling? I'm a fellow minstrel. I love learning more about the music of the people and everything. Would you mind telling me a bit more about that song? I'd love to know how you play it.
Alma's not one for many words. Alma responds with, rather than speaking back, just lifts up and starts showing like the finger placements, and it's more than happy to sing you teach you the song to learn, and then after a few minutes pass, the rest of you may be watching, and you have figured out the chords, you can play the song. There's this satisfaction, and the noose moves up, strangles Alma, lifts them up into the air, and then just as that happens, sort of the body falls through the rope, and the rope disappears into the fog.
Is Alma still there?
No, Alma's gone.
I guess he's gone back to his alma mater.
Oh, God damn it.
Well, that was a fun adventure. We got to meet a new friend. Why don't we go off to the
This
tavern and have a meal?
Huh. Well, it's not every day you see strangers walk into town and immediately take our neighbors into a peaceful rest. Behind you, again, in the fog, hard to see, people sneaking up. One of the members of the crowd didn't disappear. He's wearing yellow and reds, sort of a jacket, not armor, clothing, cloth. Older gentleman, big, strong jaw. And he's still standing there, arms crossed with a curious look on his face.
My eyes are up here, but feel free to look at anything.
I wasn't paying attention to you,
What?
Frailing. I was paying attention to your minstrel.
Sorry, friend. Do you have a story you want? I'd love to learn more about what brought you here. I mean, what? Can you tell me anything about that song? The significance of that song? Alma didn't seem to have many words to
They
it.
sing that song every night at this hour. It's a ritual of theirs, I suppose. He identifies himself as Sturkis.
So, how long have you been in this town, brother?
Oh, you ask a lot of questions for someone who just got here. I arrived, 18 years ago.
And what can you tell us about this town, the history of this town? Or?
Sorry,
He says,
18?
let's maybe not stay out here, though.
Yes, and also there was a band session for the dead.
You've just arrived. Things are a little different here, of course. Obviously, perhaps not stay outside. And he goes to lead you into his home, the Rust Brother building, just down the road.
We're
from the
looking for
tavern.
someone as well. I've got a friend who should be in town.
Oh, yes. I heard a tattooed woman with a horse. I
Yes.
thought she was alone. Well, she was with you.
She's with us. She just walks faster.
Well, if we need to make it inside, why not? We were thinking of going to the tavern. Would you love to come with us?
And it's like,
He just invited us to his home. We can't.
Oh, yes, we can.
This generosity. How
We
could
appreciate
we?
your generosity, but also I don't want to impose.
he just left the tavern, but if
Oh,
he's happy to fill you in on just arriving here, but go make yourself. We'll meet up in the morning then if you wanna continue this. But
My friend Callie will buy you a drink.
just tell you what, you did a kind thing there to Alma. The others won't tell you the rules. Stay to the wooden path or to the red path at nighttime, and if you do come back outside before sunrise, and he points out to the bells beside the doors of each of the buildings, just give them a good ring before you walk around, just to let the dead know that you're here.
Thank you.
And he makes his way back to the Rust Brothers building. Goes inside. The tavern's still there near the well, and the lights are on, and there's some chattering and some people talking in there.
what a
Man,
nice
it
chat.
took you guys long enough. I'm so glad that I went ahead of you guys. I'm so glad.
Well,
Look
so-
at it. It's been like 55 days, a fortnight.
So far, I'm not entirely sold on this place as a new place to settle.
I think it's quite nice.
Did you guys see the Rust Brothers symbol?
Yeah,
The-
I noticed it.
Yeah, they met the Rust Brother.
Yo, you guys met? What was his name?
Sturkis.
The bartender says that out. He was spying out the window. They take amusement when new people come in and don't know the rules of the place.
You guys met Brother Sturkis? That's who I need to speak to next.
Oh, he seemed like a nice guy. He invited us over. I could use a drink, maybe, like sing for my supper, and we can go
Think
and meet
for
him
our
later
suppers?
on. Yeah. We'll talk to. Do you know who's in charge here?
Yeah, Miss Palmer over there.
Miss Palmer Miss Palmer was yelling at people, but some time has passed, and she lives in the estate down the road. She's the elder of the village, and but the person in charge who's been left in charge of the dead man's hand is that bartender there is named Olm, Olm, and he's I mean, if you want to play a song, I mean, now sure, it would be nice change of pace from the usual music we get around here.
Sure. Well, I mean, I could use. I need to grab some water, and I'm sure we could all use a meal. Do you mind if I sing for the supper? And if anybody feels like I can put down the hat, and if anyone feels
Lovina,
like
have you already ordered a
in,
drink while you were waiting here?
Oh yeah,
the
I
meat
had a
sucks.
stew.
The meat is watery and tasteless. The food is quite good though. At this hour though, Ulm is enjoying your company, and now you brought friends who are gonna play some music, and he's got some wine downstairs you might be able to bring up.
Yes, wine does sound much more my speed.
Perfect. And I'm gonna ask Olm, like, while we're all chilling, about that crypt.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, of course, everything's a crypt around here. We don't really go up there though. It's not as ruly as it is everywhere else.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, no one goes to the Church of the Serpent anymore. Not with the Rust Brothers around.
Of course, it doesn't sound all that cool.
It's not about cool. It's about not being burned alive at stakes, if you know what I mean.
Oh, what, use fire?
Well, that would do it.
Of course, the Rust Brothers. That's their favorite way of executing heretics.
Oh,
Heretic?
wow.
Haven't
I
seen
should've
any of
come
that in
Rust
some while.
Brother. Why didn't you tell me about this, Callie?
Wait,
I thought we'd just learn more as we went along. Everyone's got a story to tell, right?
what qualifies as a heretic?
Someone with lots of crosses?
I'm just a bartender, but I mean, I suppose anyone who is is this a test?
What would
Are
we
you-
be testing you for?
No, it's just simple talk. You've got lovely eyes, by the
Are we
way.
with who?
Are you with them? Are you with the Rust Brothers as well? I'm happy. I've given you everything. I've paid off my protection. I've made sure you could take the dead when they need to.
You still owe us 5 silver.
You don't look like.
I'm
It's
just playing
fine.
with you.
It's fine. I'll start playing my music, and we'll just we can all have a good time, and you guys can discuss these kind of matters.
Heretics these days are usually just restricted to anyone who's a Raven sister, of course.
Oh,
course,
a
of
Raven
course.
sister, of course.
Say that.
Yes.
You don't
Yeah.
have any in these parts, right? Like, we couldn't.
No, there's 3 competing human faiths. There's those who believe that the Raven that led the humans to the Forbidden Lands was itself the god that did that, the deity. The snake that it carried was actually the deity, and the Raven was but a servant, is the Church of the Serpent. They're the oldest ones, they're the founders. That was the original belief. The Rust Brothers take that the Raven was made of wood, and that the snake was made of iron, and that the materials are important, and they worship Rust and Hem, the goddess of wood. They're the strongest and most influential, but the youngest of the 3. They spent something like 800 years hunting down anyone who worships the Raven. So the Raven is always kept in secret. It doesn't matter which village you go to in the Forbidden Lands, and anywhere you have traveled. Raven sisters are kind of like witches in a way, but they're kept very secret. And they're not public about it. Even if any of you had grown up with teachings from the Raven, it would have been done in hushed tones in a home, family to family, and never been made public. So
Please tell me it was the bartender who's just told us that whole
the
thing.
bartender doesn't want to say anything about that. This is just giving you some grounding into why he'd be freaked out about sharing any of this stuff with you.
So while this is happening, I've set up and playing my song. Trying to get everyone kind of like
But
a
if you want to go to
mood.
the crypt, I mean, it's not like there's any guards there. We just don't go there. It's not safe. It's just not safe.
I want to go to the crypt.
Of course you do.
There's better work you can do. Miss Palmer could put you to work. You could be a guard.
Sure. So why don't you guys work, make us some money? I'm going to go to the crypt.
You
This-
always need helps on the farm.
This Miss Palmer, on a scale of 1 to 10, you'd say she was
Attractive.
On a scale of 1 to 10. I
Yes.
mean, I don't
Single?
know how heavy she is.
Oh, no. I mean, in terms of, like, on a scale of my attractiveness versus, let's say
Are you saying
Callie
she's a
here.
serpent?
Does
Like
she have a
scale of-
father?
On a scale of 1 to 10, I would say she is the elder of this village and married with children.
How old are the children?
And he just is like,
And do those children have dads? He's gonna ask you that next anyway.
So why don't we talk about plants? How's your farming doing? Do you need any help? I'm not so bad with those sorts of things.
I mean, it's a little late to be talking work, but why don't we get everyone a rest and we can sort these things out in the morning?
That
of course.
sounds wonderful.
Sure. So I also want to have like something to eat and catch because we've been like moving all the time.
We don't have to go
and that
through
kind
all
of
the
thing.
minutia of this. We can just we can say it. We don't have to go through every single minute of walking into the tavern. Let's have some adventure in this adventure.
Also, can I do want to kind of get a little bit of money just so I have something. Can
Yeah.
I put the hat out
So
while
that
I'm
would
playing
be-
and run like a performance?
Yeah, go ahead
kinda?
and roll some performance, and judging by the number of successes you get, we'll judge on how well you get paid.
0 successes, 1 failure. Can I do another? I push it.
Yeah, sure. Just make sure you don't push that one. Keep that one aside.
Yep.
So we all agree that we're, I guess, in the party together, so all the
Cool.
money is shared.
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that.
But you still steal. You're gonna still steal from him, aren't you?
I don't steal. I don't understand
Yeah,
exactly
okay.
what you're talking about.
Sure.
Cool. I had 2 successes and 1 failure.
Okay, cool. So actually, performance can also be used to recover people's wits and empathy when they're broken. You can use your performance as like a healing
Does it work for
for
myself?
that stat. So yeah, actually, you take the damage, but then you recover it because you did a really nice job. So you won't build into it, and you play it out, and you're playing songs no one's ever heard of. What was your story about the song that you sung?
You know, just the story of a simple traveler like roaming through the lands and like discovering, new
Yeah.
promise of a new day, and like just
Sure.
really capturing the light of the sun and the feel of the wind across your face.
Well, Ohm thought that was beautiful. He doesn't have any money, but he can offer you free lodging. You can stay upstairs in the spare room. Don't get many guests, so the rooms are empty. But we just cleaned it up now after the last people that were through. So apologize for the smell. But we can feed you in the morning. Does that sound good? And a little
fill
bit
my
more of a
water?
barter economy with that. If you want money, you'll need to have things to trade. That
Sure,
can
and,
be
like
turned
food
into
and water and
material
stuff.
goods.
Just
Oh yeah, you won't have to worry about using your consumables while you're in the hollows. You can eat here.
Rivka, was
Dead
that
Man's Head.
song about you, possibly?
It seems like it was about all of us.
I think it's just a generic hero story tale.
But one of his
Yeah,
things.
yeah, about the relationship.
Yeah.
You have a relationship. You're secretly telling the hero's tale of one of the characters in this group. It was one thing we had for character creation, right?
mhm.
Yeah. We haven't mentioned it in the actual show, but so here in the Hollows, you got a number of places you can visit. You want to go off to the crypts? You can absolutely go check that out.
So this is the morning now.
we can just skip ahead to
Yep.
the next day.
Perfect.
We don't have to play out every single quarter day in minutia. Brother Sturkis is there to answer some questions. That you gained his appreciation by the way you handled the dead, and you have overheard there with the beer. Do not serve their beer. There's some rivalry going on here in town, and something Palmer's got some enemies that she's trying to handle, as well as they have a need for workers that actually show up to work on time.
So I was wondering if I had any dreams last night.
So last night, sure. So last night you were, you have this dream that you normally have of a raven, and maybe it was spurned by the conversation you had with Olm about the heretics and the things that the Rust Brothers are always looking out for. But you find in the village. It's from like a bird's eye view of the village, and you're seeing it through the daytime as the bird is flying through, and a number of them are gathering around a building next to the river on the far side of the village over by the walls. The front of the building has lots of plants and gardens, herbs that are being grown. And asking around, it's not hard to find out that that's where the midwife in the town lives, an herbalist and sort of healer of sorts. And then the dream takes a turn, though, which right before you wake up, where the raven then lifts up off of that building and moves around to this old church of the serpent. And then just as it's going through, behind the church, there's tombstones and crypts, and a door then swings open. And just as the raven flies into it, you can feel the whole room collapse in on you. And you just have this sense of being buried alive and trapped in the claustrophobia and the panic and the anger and the sorrow and the grief. And then you wake up in the morning and the sun's coming through the window.
All right, then.
So I'm going to meet up with Brother Sturkis, and I'm going to ask him about that 7-foot-tall knight.
Sturkis does his morning rounds. He walks around doing like a walk on the paths. He checks the stones and the bells, and he does this routine of making sure things are set proper and straight, and that people are, he's not really like, there's no, other than the guard watch, it's not like a sheriff in town, but he kind of takes that role as a leader in that way. And no one really questions him because he wears a symbol of the Rust Brothers on his neck. It's very different from the stories you hear of the Rust Brothers. You've heard stories where they wear armor to hide their disfigured faces, and he has scars across his faces that you can see in the face. He doesn't cover up and battle scars from time. And he seems to be mid to older, in his mid 40s, and he's just doing his rounds when you find him, just walking. He doesn't really talk to a whole lot of people. He keeps to himself.
All right. Hello, Brother Sturkis.
Hello there, stranger.
Miss Palmer told me to come to you and ask about the 7-foot-tall knight I saw the other night in burning armor.
And he just kind of smiles. Oh, you met Terramalda.
Terramalda? Who is that?
Oh, who was that, more precisely? She's, you were blessed by the Rust God for sure, weren't you? She's our prophet, of course. She led the Rust brothers into the Forbidden Lands. We were the original pilgrims. She led a valiant crusade against the dwarves, but fell in battle and was captured. If legend is right, they tried to pry her out of her armor, but they couldn't figure it out, and in frustration, the king of the dwarves threw her onto a coal of fire to burn her alive. She cried out to the Rust God, who granted her eternal life to seek vengeance against the enemies of the church. I don't know if any of that's even real. It sounds like a fantasy's tale, but they say her suit of armor still wanders the realm, seeking out the enemies of Rust.
Oh, all right.
If you're here today, then you're no enemy of mine.
Perfect. So what's in your crypt?
Oh, it's not my crypt, and he kind of gets a little dark over his face there. That's just old, forgotten memories.
Is there, like, forgotten memories that I can go and grab and sell for money?
I would discourage grave robbing.
Oh, just, like, not grave robbing, but, like, bringing light.
Here, but it's not something that we normally agree for. The people of the Hollows have a respect for the dead. They live with the dead. Wouldn't go around bothering their neighbors if you wanted to keep having a warm reception here, if you gather my meaning.
So are we all here? Or
I think it's just Lovina.
Okay.
You want to just go out on your own. But if you want to go out and find your bandmate and...
well, I wasn't...
It's not like you kind of stand out.
I'm just chilling there. Well,
you're outside in the square, so you're not hiding.
Yeah, I think the rest of us were going to see that Palmer woman. Or
if you want to insert yourself into the scene, that's fine.
Sure. I just happened to be kind of walking past en route to something else, and I was like, "Oh, hail, brother Circus." I was just sorry. What you all talking about?
The crypt. I was just thinking of, like, there's probably like some nice artifacts down there that we could bring up for the village.
Maybe not talk out loud again. Don't. If I know that you are robbing from the people that have given me shelter for 2 decades, I will have...
No.
Do not desecrate the dead.
So I just wanted to, you know I feel like there's more that we can learn to learn more for having respect for the dead around here that like we could learn from this crypt. And I for one would love to see this crypt and just kind of find out, more about the steeped history of this great place. And I just I turn to him.
Oh, hey guys, found a way to make some money very quickly.
Oh my God. If it's history you're looking for and you want to know more about where these people come from, you can head there during the day. Just don't touch anything.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
No, of course not. No.
But the Church of the Serpent is where there's a cathedral kind of looking up over by the edge of the rocks, and that's where the old graveyard that the town was built on really has been left alone. The Rust brothers take a silent tone on the Church of the Serpent, but they just keep to themselves, and that abandoned building can just stay there abandoned as far as I'm concerned.
Okay. Well, we're going to go and explore some more. Hey, guys, want to go to that crypt?
That sounds great.
We won't touch anything.
Loud. And he seems to be like happy that you're here and you're not causing too much trouble, but he will intervene if you're going to, break the order of things here.
Well, will he know that, we're in the crypt and someone sleight of hand takes some stuff?
I mean, that's probably not.
Okay, then. All right, that's fine.
A little bit of a metagaming, but you're saying a lot of things right in front of him. So that's just, be careful. He's like standing right there. I'm right here. You're new, and I like what you're doing here, and maybe this town could use some fresh blood. But and certainly you were blessed by Terramalda, so he's a little bit biased here. So you're here for a reason, of course. It's a good omen. However, just be kind to these people, and they'll be kind
of course.
to you.
While you're here, is there a place we can buy some empty sacks?
Empty
sacks,
just so we can carry more on our journey, and
yeah, I mean, there's
put on the donkey.
There's a merchant. There's a building.
Oh, good.
Like he'll give you some general.
All right, let's go to the crypt.
Thank you, Brother Circus. May light shine on your day.
So the old cemetery is in the northern part of the village. It completely changes to overgrown ruins. As you go just beyond where the buildings are and you go off the red-stoned pathway, everything is overgrown. The vegetation has vines and the same kinds of growth that's over the walls.
Wait, should we bring the druid for this just in case we need to be patched up in some way?
I mean, I have healing.
So you try to go back to the inn to find her, and she's not there.
No, you're not there. So I'll describe the cemetery as you're walking around, and then we're going to check in on what the druid's up to. The beautiful but crumbling crypts testify the area being a cemetery. And here and there are gnarly trees and scrubby bushes, making it hard to move around. The entrances to the hollows of the dead gape empty along the hillside. Many of the gates that once held the undead at bay have moldered away long ago. And even here now there's an uneasy silence. There's no birds, there's no sound. Even the wind itself has gone still as you walk into it. There's no villagers come out here. There's no footpaths, there's no trails. They don't seem to venture in this far. And there is a northern watchtower that's supposed to be manned, but it's not manned today. And as you'll go through, you'll see most of the crypts here have been excavated long ago. It's been hundreds of years. Most of them are empty caves, but we will come back to you as you come up to an overgrown stone gate that you find intact and a name above it, Count Napola. So, Druid, where do we find you? I forgot your name again, so that's why I'm calling you Druid. Rivka. I just don't want to be like Druid, minstrel, rogue. Like I want to actually get to know your names. Rivka. Where did you wander off to?
So basically, first light, I go down near the river, just kind of trying to collect myself. And as soon as I think it would be an honorable hour to call upon someone, I want to go to the cottage that I saw in my dream.
Yeah, the hillside between gravestones and mausoleums is a cottage erected from reeds and mud. You reach the cottage by way of a detour from the path that leads to the old temple. So you go up and then you turn. An unclean animal hide covers the opening of the cottage, and from the jutting roof hangs bird feathers, skeletons of dead animals, and sheafs of herbs. A warm light and smoke spills from the house's sole window. And,
So I say, Hello.
Just outside. Hello.
Hello.
Anyone there? Nervia, or a woman. Her name is Nervia. Okay. A woman comes out. She's got like and it's an apron, but it's an apron that's holding a lot of tools and vials, and there's some plants in there, and her hands are dirty. She's had her hands in soil, and she pushes back the how did I describe it? It was the animal hide covering the opening. So she pushes back the animal hide and she goes like, "You're here too soon, and nothing's going to be ready yet for another fortnight. Come back before the moon turns full, and we'll." Oh, sorry. I thought you were somebody else.
No worries.
You're new.
I am. I just got into town last night, and believe me, your reputation.
Yeah, and she's like immediately like, "Oh, let me get this dirt off my hands and get things ready." I don't get many visits. Most people don't know. How did you find
your reputation?
Where's your referral from?
Your reputation precedes you a bit. I'm also an herbalist, and I was hoping that we could share our ways.
Oh, sure. I mean, well, I can trade you information for work. Of course, I can put you to work, and I could use some help in the garden, getting rid of cleaning out the bugs.
I'd be honored.
And so she sends you back, and you go and the room. It's like it's a midwife herbalist place. Like there's all these things working on growing plants and vials of preserves and other things and roots and smells and all that in the room. And it's all very, 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 very rustic. I could have you roll for an investigation, but you're looking for something because of your dream, and you do see that there's in the back of the room behind some other plants and stuff, you can make out like wood carvings of birds and ravens, stuff kind of kept in the dark. But just as you go in, she's kind of moving in front of you, and she closes the door to that room and goes, "Out back, that's where the flowers are. You can get to work, and then I can teach you a few things for sure. Of course, always happy for a help from another druid. Of course, a druid in town. Oh, this is wonderful.
Suspicious.
Haven't seen one of you in a while." At the gate to Count Nepola, it's overgrown. It remains closed. Compared to the rest of them that have all been emptied out long ago, this has remained shut. And by the growth of it, it has never been opened.
All right, so Bibbin, you got your lockpicks? Why don't you open it?
Well, fear of death, for one.
Oh, come on. There's going to be some treasure in there.
Death is just the next stage of life, you know?
We're going to have money. Come on. Money, fighting. I want to level up.
I want to see what I can see in there. It sounds exciting.
All right.
Lockpick this.
There's one ground rule. Any engagement rings we see, I have dibs on.
Take it.
Done.
There's no handle on the gate, but it's the rock is hewn, in the greenery of the hillside. The gate itself is hewn rock that's carved into the hillside, but the name kind of plated over the top of it. There's no handle on this.
There's no lock or chain.
No, there's no lock or chain, but it's a stone gate door that's been placed more like a seal than a door. It's not meant to ever be opened.
All right, so let's try to open it. Let's push this rock.
Yeah, do you have?
Is it easy to climb?
You might maybe some leverage. Well, I mean, it's into the hillside.
Oh, okay,
and so it's recessed into it. But with some leverage, like a crowbar or some other
I have
handle
my horse.
work, you could
and
bring the horse. Yeah.
Does anyone have rope with them? Like we can.
I mean, it actually says there's room for 3 people to help each other, and that's exactly the number of people that are there. And it would be a might roll if you wanted to roll in. You could bring the horse around. Might cause a bit more of a notice, but right here where you are, you've got the privacy. The villagers don't come here.
So I'm going to use my willpower. So my melee is 3, and my strength is 4, so I get to roll 7.
Do we also have flops to help out too?
You said 3 people can help, so can I add my 2 might dice to this?
Sure, of course.
And do we add?
If you want to bring your horses around, that'd be. But right now they're hitched down.
My horse has a strength of 5.
Are you bringing your horses?
I don't
up?
think we might not need the horses, and that's a little obvious.
Okay. So.
Well, then I have a strength of 2.
I'm pushing.
I got a 1.
Okay, then I'll push as well.
Yeah,
I helped.
we got it.
Okay. Who got the 1?
I did.
So the stone disc opens up, and you get it, like you feel it kind of give and open, and then and it rolls a bit, and it lands. It's gonna land on your foot. And let me see, 4 dice here.
Oh, so that's both of you because you got a 1 as well.
No.
But my 1 was my first round.
Yeah, which
My 1 was my first round as well.
oh, okay, don't worry about it.
The 1
then.
carries through.
That don't matter.
I dance out of the way.
You dance out of the way. It falls and it hits the ground, and when it lands into the grass, and it just thuds, heavy, and it'll take a lot more effort to lift it back up to put it back into its place. But it falls open. A dark corridor is excavated into the side. The ceiling of the corridor is supported by stone columns adorned with reliefs depicting skulls and demonic faces.
Phew.
A green light flickers from a chamber a couple of meters further in. From the chamber, you can hear sobbing.
I run in.
Hey, so she's just run right into the chamber.
I walk behind. Is it that far that running is necessary?
I'm just excited.
And she's just taken off and left the two of you behind.
And Bibbin moves stealthily at the end.
Okay, you move through.
I'm just kind of like
Okay.
hobbling. I'm happy, like marching on there.
So you run right through the corridor, and you reach the end. The corridor ends in a circular chamber, about 6 meters wide. Standing sarcophagi, hewn from rock, are placed in 3 alcoves. The sarcophagus opposite the entrance of the chamber is adorned with reliefs. The ones to the right and left are smooth. The left one is considerably smaller than the others, and most likely belongs to a deceased child or halfling. In the middle of the chamber is a brazier in which burns green fire. At the base of the smaller sarcophagus, on the dusty stone floor, sits a woman, dressed in a dress of black and blue. Her figure is semi-transparent and flickers slightly in the green glow of the brazier. She sobs and murmurs softly in an incomprehensible language.
Excuse me, why are you crying?
She doesn't notice you. She keeps sobbing, just kneeling, and her face covered.
Is there anything of value around here, rogue, that we can punk?
Oh, I'm still waiting for that ghost to do something before I step into the room. I'll just watch from back here.
Oh, I see some rings in here.
Oh, here I come.
And
I try and talk to the figure. I'm like, so is
and
are
how do you
okay?
approach her?
I mean, slowly.
Yeah.
I said, hey, sorry, are you all right there? Is there anything we can do? I just want to help.
She looks up. She doesn't seem startled by the presence. And as she looks, she
Very, very like open armed.
she identifies. I am the Countess of these parts. This is our tomb.
Countess Nepola?
I don't see any rings.
My husband, Count Nepola. I am Countess Ursula. She goes and she points into the sarcophagus at the end. Count Nepola.
Oh,
And she goes back to crying again.
Are you not buried here?
And she points to the other sarcophagus to the right opposite the small one.
And your ring size is about a 6?
And so what happened here? What happened to you two? How long have you been in this tomb?
My husband served Zygofer in the wars. But the whisper had gone too far. Used demons and monsters to run his armies. My husband refused. And so we were buried here. Buried here to die.
I'm sorry, that's terrible. I'm sorry for your loss and mourning. Is there anything we can do to help? What would help you find a relief or release?
Yes, maybe if I crack this one open and see if you're still alive.
Don't. The curse is on this place.
Okay.
I have been cursed to warn everyone. Don't touch this, or this curse will be yours.
What is the curse?
And of Zygofer, to be trapped here, to be buried here, to never be able to leave, to never be able to know rest.
Are you seeking rest?
She doesn't deserve rest.
Well, there's nothing of value, and I still want to explore the world. So, let's go.
Cool. While you guys are, if you're leaving, I'm just gonna pull out my lute and try and play the song I learned from Alma.
Ursula, do you know where there's gold or money?
Zygopher has gold and money and his armies.
Where is that?
He's everywhere. He has so many places, so many outposts.
All right.
Avenge my family.
How do I
bring
avenge?
Justice to this realm?
Okay, we'll avenge your family. Where do we go?
She speaks of a keep nearby. That.
Do you want us to kill everyone in that keep?
The daughter.
Wow.
She laughs.
That was a leap.
They've been dead long ago.
What
the
is
dead
the daughter's
outnumber
name?
the living now. Oh, the daughter won't be there. The daughter had a lover. It's the lover's keep.
Oh, because that sarcophagus looks a little small for someone who has a lover.
That small sarcophagus is my son, sir.
Ah. Sorry, I'm not good with keeping track.
There's 3 in the room. And one's for her, one's for the count, and one's for the child.
And what's the name
All
of
3
this
of them
keep?
were buried alive.
And what was the name of this keep?
So long ago. The names are lost to me. Something. And she goes back to crying again.
But perhaps this keep is available for new tenancy.
Let's go check out the keep. We can go ask Brother Strakis. He might know.
Cool. As you guys are leaving,
She
I'm gonna
thanks you for the visit.
try
It's
and
always so nice to have visitors. It's so lonely down here.
Certainly. Cheers, man.
Enjoy the song.
I'm gonna try and play Alma's song and see if it gives her any relief.
It stops her from crying for a while.
Okay.
And then she goes back to the sobbing when the song comes to an end, because she's a ghost trapped in a cycle for eternity.
That's fair. Just get the fuck out of here.
All
She
right,
goes
are we
back
going to
to
bother
tending-
closing this door?
She goes back to tending the green flame.
Is there any? No, there's nothing we have to hold in it that could grab green flame for any reason.
Cool. So
Cool.
I'm going to go run back to Brother Strakis and find this keep.
Oh, you must be speaking of Weatherstone. You didn't speak to the Countess, did you?
Yeah, we did.
I put that stone in place to keep people out.
She says hi.
Yes. Yes, she's there with her mysteries. Weatherstone. It's a few days' travel from here. The bounty hunters that were here a few days ago, that's what they were looking for as well.
Sorry, bounty hunters?
Treasure hunters, treasure seekers, or whoever. Everyone seems to be out looking for their riches these days.
Oh, yeah. I know.
If
Wonder
you
what that
want to
would be
go
like.
there, they've already got a day's start on you. But it was, if legend was right, they say King Algarod himself would have been stationed there. That's nonsense, of course.
King Al. Who is that?
A king ran with the humans, led a war against Zygopher. They lost, as they would, against the demon lord himself. So he was bound to his daughter as an undead lover or something.
Wait, what?
His daughter.
Zygopher's daughter, Tyrannia, yes.
I'm just my character is taking down notes furiously.
They say she fell in love and he rebuffed her. So when he was executed, she brought him back and enslaved him as her undead consort.
All right, even for me, that's a little too incestuous.
That's awesome.
Yes.
So
The
let's
stories
head towards
are
that place.
no, they're quite colorful, aren't they?
Well, I'm always in search of stories.
Have you seen a druid around here about yay tall?
Yeah.
Speaking of the druid, you're still working in the garden. You're going
Yes.
at things.
Yes, I am.
Nervia is very happy for your help.
I've done my best.
She's also in her 40s, and she's asking questions about where you've been, where you're going, wants to know all about the world beyond the walls.
And so I tell her as much as, I was from a quiet hamlet. We were fairly self-sufficient. small farming town. I mean, you know how it goes. We're about half the size of the Hollows, I would say.
Yeah. She used to have a town like that too, and she kind of just gets. I had to leave there. Thankfully, the people of the Hollows brought me in.
Oh, that's wonderful. I'm glad to hear that.
It's been my home ever since.
Oh, I see you have a bit of a weevil problem here. If you crush up some snails and lay their shells along your herbs, it'll help.
I've never heard of weevils before, but I'll take your advice to heart.
Thank you. I'm just trying to help.
And she just she seems happy to have the company. But I mean, she talks. She is like Sturkis is another someone who came in here during the days of the Blood Mist and made her way into the town and found shelter here, as so many people have. She had a place that she used to leave, but doesn't. During your small talk over the afternoon, while these two were grave robbing, she keeps moving off the topic to talk about it. But you get the impression that she was chased away, and she didn't have a choice about leaving, and she had to give up something in the past. And thankfully, she was able to be brought back in here, and she's found safety. So maybe one day she'll go back out and adventure again. She's getting a little old for that now.
It's certainly a choice, isn't it?
Yeah.
The next time that we're kind of back inside the house, I want to say...
I mean, if you're ever looking for a healer, maybe, I could look for people to join, perhaps. I'm so afraid to leave the Hollows on my own, but you've been such good company, it would be a shame to part ways so soon.
I would not... No, I feel like I have so much to learn from you still.
Oh, well, she's available to be hired as a healer if you want to bring her along on a group.
I don't have any money.
Yeah. Oh, wow, you might want to maybe work on that.
Yeah. So as we're talking, I want to say...
Also, the payment can be paid. Doesn't necessarily, you can negotiate to have it in advance. There could be... a percentage of things that are found along the way.
Yeah, we need a healer because I want to be a bounty hunter in Weatherstone. So let's do this.
How would you feel about a share of the treasure? I don't have any money.
Well, it's not every day someone comes here and offers me a job. Usually I'm just out here delivering babies, but it's been quiet lately. I wouldn't say I'd join you on the road forever, but I could join you for a short way if you're planning to come back here after you're done.
I think that could be arranged.
Well, let's meet the rest of your adventurers. And she just seems very excited about the idea of okay, this could be interesting.
We're at the garden gate and you hear someone yelling, "Oi, Rivka!"
So right before that happens, I say I have one small favor to ask in return. And then as soon as I hear him, I say, I'll ask later.
She taps her nose. Understood. We women have to keep our secrets.
Indeed.
And she greets the rest of you. And
Cool, so you're a healer.
Well, herbalist.
So have you ever been to Weatherstone?
Weatherstone. Well, Weatherstone is dangerous. The people go there to look for treasure. We don't see them again.
Okay, perfect. You're a healer, and we want to be bounty hunters now, so let's go to Weatherstone.
She kind of looks to the druid as you're my friend here, and then looks to the rider going you're going to get me killed here. Goes, well, careful what you wish for, I suppose.
I mean, what are you going to think at the end of your life? Are you going to think about all the things that you did or all of the things that you didn't? Isn't this a chance to have, bring a bit more into your life and seek adventure and learn more about this world that's around us? I mean, what is life if confined to a small village when there's so much out there?
Riches
Also,
in both gold and in stories.
Yes, and how's your dad doing?
I just met him. I don't know what he's talking about.
My dad?
Yes, still among us?
I wouldn't know. I left my family years ago.
Well, how much daylight do we have?
If you wanted to strike out, I mean, let's say it's middle of the day. You didn't do a whole lot. You woke up in the morning, you talked to Sturkis, you went into a grave, you've met up with Nervia, so let's say it's midday.
Cool, let's go ahead and know.
You could pack up and you could make a quarter day travel out towards the dungeons.
Yeah.
And
all right.
She grabs some things. She grabs some stuff from inside her house. As a druid, you would recognize them as similar recipes and ingredients that you would have even in your spells. But for stuff like you have Path of Sight,
I do.
and so does she.
Oh.
But she's also grabbing additional stuff for the Path of Healing. And she grabs her satchel with herbs and a leather pouch. And the leather pouch rattles around with the sounds of bones inside.
If she needs to like put anything, also Flopsy can, or
Yeah.
Flops can carry some stuff.
Grom can carry some stuff too.
Oh, wow. I don't even have to carry everything. Look at you, living the life of luxury.
And to be clear, you're taking part of Rivka's portion of the money, right?
That's fine.
All right.
I don't mind paying her if she heals us. Like,
Friend-
you can have some of my money too.
Friendly bunch.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. The more the merrier.
Perfect.
Parts of their shares then.
Yeah, so as you're getting things ready, we'll wrap up this episode with Sturka coming up as you're saddling up the horses. Sturka arriving, leaving so soon. And Nervia, really? You're heading out there too? She's kind of just not talking to Sturkis, going, they've given me a job. I'm going to do well for them.
Well, you know how it is, Sturkis. Adventure calls. It's been great to meet you, and I feel like this won't be the last time we talked. We're heading off. Is there anything you can tell us? A word of warning or word for the wise you could let us know about the keep?
If it's Weatherstone you're going to, then it's the dead you need to be worried about. If you should die, shamble your way back here, and maybe we can re-educate you and put you to work.
Well, come
All right,
visit
cool.
us at our keep at some point.
You won't be the first to have tried.
All right, I'm in. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Okay,
You know
cool.
what? When I play for keeps.
Oh,
So-
God damn it.
Fine, we'll end that there. You get on your horses, you head out to the south gate. As you go through, you pass by the second tavern you never visited, a shaved-looking, bald-shaved. He's too stout to be a halfling. It looks like he's a dwarf, but he's got no beard, so it looks very weird. He's out there and just kind of eyeing you all as you're walking out. And there's a village idiot you never met too, who chases after the horses, and the gates close behind you, and you make your way out into the wilderness on your way to Weatherstone Keep.
I can't be the only one to appreciate that the barkeep is a stout.
And he never stops, everybody. We'll wrap up this episode. Next episode, we will begin traveling into a stronghold. We're going to visit one of these places. It's not too far from here. Maybe we'll skip the wilderness checks, and when we come back next week, we'll have gone a couple of hexes and arrived at the doors of Weatherstone. Along the way, you will there's a few people to meet, and we'll set that up. But we'll join that next time. In the meantime, I've been your game master, Justin Nikov. We're working things out here. This is an interesting walking around the hollows. Maybe I should have started you there instead of outside. Nonetheless, it's an interesting game, and you're playing an interesting group of characters. Of course, the one leading the pack and heading out, going venture, combat. Need to level up. We've got our rider,
Lovina Yavari.
and our druid.
Joe Drummond.
You brought a friend along now. You
I
got
have
you got
friends.
Nervia and our minstrel
Leon Weinstein.
and our rogue. Hoping like, when are we gonna get paid?
And when is someone going to have a father? Scott Thrower.
Until next time, thank you for joining us. Be good to each other. Bye.
Bye.
See ya.
Later.
The Terrible Warriors has new episodes out every Tuesday, and next week, our final episode in our run through the Forbidden Lands. We arrive at Weatherstone Keep. If you like this game and you'd like to try it yourself and you happen to be in Toronto, consider visiting the Stormcrow Manor and participating in the DM and Dine program. You can reserve a table and a dungeon master for 4 hours, and they'll run you through a game. You'll get a main course and an appetizer, and yeah, you could even book Justin Eacock to run a game of Forbidden Lands for you and your friends. For more information, visit dmdineto.com. Of course, The Terrible Warriors is only possible because of sponsorship by our listeners at patreon.com/terriblewarriors. There's private games there as well that we run every month, as well as access to exclusive debrief episodes, and we'll send you some postcards in the mail commemorating each game that we've played during the past year of this program. For more information, that's patreon.com/terriblewarriors. Follow us on Twitter at Dice Warriors, where we will be telling you what our plans are for the summer. We're not going anywhere even after this campaign is over. Expect interviews that we have recorded throughout the years and news of live Twitch streams. We're going to be trying some new ideas and some new formats, and we will return with a restructured, all-new season of Terrible Warriors in the fall. Forbidden Lands is published by Free League Games, and today's Terrible Warriors and your adventurers in those lands were Lovina Yavari, Leon Weinstein, Scott Thrower, Joe Drummond, and Game Master Justin Econ. We'll return to you next week for the final episode of Forbidden Lands and the final campaign in this season of the Terrible Warriors.